Hi, I'm Carla Hinton. I'm staff writer here for the Oklahoman and NewsOK.com. I have with me Lilybeth Brinkman. She is assistant features editor here at the Oklahoman and NewsOK, and we will be talking today with John Granger, who is a literary scholar and an author who lives right here in Oklahoma City. And he has written several books that delve into the meaning behind book series like the Harry Potter series, also the Twilight series, and now we're going to talk about The Hunger Games, which is a really popular book series right now by Suzanne Collins. Thank you so much for agreeing to let us interview you.
It's a pleasure being here, Carla.
Good, good. Okay. Well, let's see. The first thing I wanted to ask you, and I've read the book, and I know that Lilybeth Brinkman has as well. Why do you think people are so enraptured by these books? They're very popular. Everywhere I go, there's someone there who's read the book and wants to talk about it.
Well, in the talks I'm going to give at Full Circle this next month, I'm going to discuss two things basically, but in seven steps, 7 keys. And the two things are just commonsensical.
Okay.
Is that Suzanne Collins has written a story of remarkable artistry so that every reader that enters into her world, Panem, is thoroughly engaged and entirely identifies with the protagonist, Katniss Everdeen, this young girl. So much so that everything that she experiences, the reader begins to experience.
I think, Lilybeth, you were going to ask a question.
Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about what the series, just a few paragraphs about what the series is about. And then also, it's the audience is supposed to be young adult fiction, and what age level should be reading this or should not be reading this?
All right, what the story is about, this is a dystopian, this is a dark view of the future. She tells us it's in North America, a world called Panem, and in this world there's a capital district that controls 12 surrounding districts, and all the surrounding districts are largely slave states to the capital, and they serve it. Every year, the capital, to remind the districts of its power, demands that 2 tributes, 2 young people between the ages of 12 and 18, be sent to the capital, largely as sacrifices, and these 24 young people go into an arena in which they're going to fight to the death, and there's one victor at the end of every one of these Hunger Games. Well, this is a nightmare scenario. And who we meet is a young girl named Katniss Everdeen, who comes from the poorest of the 12 districts, District 12, which is Appalachia, the coal mining district. Very small, only 8,000 people. And she has certain skills that I don't want to spoil the whole story, but she brings certain skills to the arena that give her the ability to turn the Hunger Games against the games makers. Who's reading these books? Adults are reading these books, but we call it young adult fiction because there's no sex in it. These books deliver artistry and meaning on an adult level. But I would say, 12, 13, 14, almost as a minimum to these stories. And I'm afraid the title, young adult fiction, somehow diminishes it. Like, this is what's great about the young adult title is it lowers all of our barriers. Oh, this is a book for kids. I can just jump right into it and it won't have any effect on me. And then you find yourself at 3 a.m. still turning pages, and the next day thinking about it.
We talked a little bit about Orwell's 1984. Can you talk a little bit about that and about the parallels here? I'm seeing them. I think that's profound.
She makes her choice. She combines 2 genres. One is the dystopian future, which is the most famous one is 1984. Well, right. Eric Blair, George Orwell, when he writes that book, 1984 is just the reversal of 1948. He's talking about the United Kingdom after the Second World War and all the things he sees in that. And he's able to write that in the future, though, so people don't freak out. They don't get upset. Oh, he's talking about the Prime Minister or whatever. Instead, he puts it far enough in the future so we can dissociate and say, oh, this isn't really about us. When, of course, he's talking about us. Mm-hmm. Right? Collins combines that story, which is a bit of a failure in 1984 because not many of us really identify with this middle-aged office worker. He's kind of a loser, right?
Yeah.
Katniss Everdeen, however, is a young woman who is coming of age, and she's a bit of an orphan. She's taking care of her family and all of these things. She's absolutely sympathetic. If you can't identify with Katniss Everdeen, have your meds adjusted. I mean, you really. It's the orphan story writ large, and so here's a story which is not really about us, because it's supposedly in the future, though it's really about us. And it's about a character that's coming of age, and so we're sucked into it. And in that, she's telling a story about the United States and the world. Essentially, the capital is the United States. It's Hollywood. It's all of us living in the land of plenty, and all the districts are everybody else in the world that lives basically to serve us. And she writes some of the most painful satirical shots at the United States, its government, both the District 13 and the Capitol. It takes shots about the American government. But essentially, the Capitol is capitalism, and District 13 is a big government.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks so much for coming to talk to us. You
This-
brought up some more stuff I should be thinking about. But so thank you so much for coming in and talking with us. This is Carla Hinton with the OklahomaNewsOK.com here with Lily Beth Brinkman. We will maybe talk again during the Hunger Games discussion series at Full Circle Bookstore starting March 5th. For more information about these series and John Granger, read The Oklahoman and NewsOK.com.